Craig's contract states that before May 31st, 2010, and annually thereafter, the board shall meet for specific purpose of reviewing this contract in order to determine whether or not the annual salary should be increased and the contract extended. Mr. Craig's contract is currently extended to June 30th, 2012, and his current annual salary is $180,295. Mr. Craig's employment contract will automatically extend one additional year if the board takes no action to cancel or nullify the automatic one-year contract extension provision prior to May 31st, 2010, or by May 31st of each subsequent year. So at this time, are there any changes to the superintendent's contract? If not, do I have a motion to approve Mr. Craig's contract as is?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion from the board? Any questions, comments from anyone in the audience regarding Mr. Craig's contract? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Mr. Craig's contract is approved. At this time is our public participation part. Is there anybody in the audience that has anything that they want to talk about at this time? Everybody's awfully quiet tonight. Ms. Crane?
Sure. I'll take this opportunity because we had an event at the end of last week. It's kind of an elephant in the room as my video recorder runs back there. I would like to ask the board to please consider carefully how it responds to the public. I've been here on a number of occasions. You and I spoke with this after the meeting last Tuesday. And I have seen members of people who are here, people who no longer come to meetings, addressed, when they have questions, somewhat put on the defensive by a number of board members, not any one in particular. I know that one of the things y'all rated yourselves on was politeness of board meetings, and I believe that you are polite to each other. I do have concerns about how the public is treated. And I would ask that you and I had this discussion. We considered perhaps it was a personality thing, and I would stress that when you step to the board table, your personality should become that of a board member as opposed to your own personality and what you know, a lot of talk is about not acting as an individual, but rather as a board. So I just wanted to take this opportunity, given the discussion that happened last week, to ask you to recommit yourselves to addressing the public's concerns in a professional manner. Sometimes the public steps in front of you with less than professional manner because they're upset or frustrated. That is understandable. Most times when people step in front of you, it's kind of their last resort. They don't come running to you all first. And I would hope that that could be remembered and respected in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience? Mr. Schultz?
I'd like to talk about last week's vote, or the vote from 2 weeks ago, and the way that it was conducted, the way that the outcome came, and what we learned out of it. From reading various public sites, there was a lot of people against it. And the reason that they were against it was because they had the perception, and perhaps not the perception, in reality, that in the past, funds have not been spent in the most appropriate ways. The vote, though, was an overwhelming positive to extend the 24 mil tax. I was personally for it. I thought it was, we didn't need to look at the past. I thought we needed to look at the future and what the vote would do for our kids. Because that's really what this is all about. It's about the kids. And the following day after the vote, even though it passed it with a 70-30% margin, I get one of these in the mail. Have you all seen these? Okay. This right here is a postcard that was sent by the school board, by the Hoover City Schools, to, according to Mr. Gaston, who was very nice to call me back the day after I called him to inquire about these, as a push for the vote, to vote yes. Mr. Craig signed the back of it, and basically it says to vote for it and why to vote for it. The postcard is magnificent. Having done mailers myself in the past, this is not cheap. This is rather expensive. Yet, nowhere on here does it say where the money came from to pay for it. And it seems a little disingenuous to send these out when, not as much when to send, that they were sent out, but that they were received on the 28th of April. The vote was on the 27th of April. So the people that were against this, the 30% that were against it, all they have to do is say, look at the waste of money on this right here. I called Mr. Gaston. I asked him, what's the deal with this? These were paid for by private donations. They were not paid for by the school. But nowhere on here does it say that. It would have been really good to put on here, this is not paid for by the school. This wasn't paid for with our money. So what I'm asking you all to do over the next few years, now that this has been passed, I'm asking you to look at the little things, to make sure that there's not a perception out there that money's being wasted, that every dime that is being spent by the schools is being spent for something good, for the kids, and not a waste. Look at the little details and double check the details. Make sure that nobody can throw something like this in your face. That's all I have. Thank you.
Probably keep in mind the same people who deliver that later, the ones going to be taking care of your health care here shortly.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Anybody else in the audience?